Merhabalar arkadaşlar. The Dwarves serimizin ilk bölümüne hoş geldiniz. Mükemmel bir hikayesi olan The Dwarves oyununu oynayacağız sizle. Çok güzel bir hikayesi var. Çok güzel yapmışlar. Ben çok beğendim. İlk işimiz şu an, ilk görevimiz zaten. Bir büyücüden çanta aldık. Bize onu Goren'e götürmemizi istedi. Maceramız böyle başlıyor. Goren'e ulaşacağız şu an. Yolda da işte karşılaştığımız maceralar falan filan olacak. Şimdi yavaştan yolumuza doğru gidelim. Yolculuğumuza başlayalım. Şuradan gidelim. Eyvah, cesettir kesin. Yoldan sap ve sessizce kargalara doğru yaklaşalım.
And a dwarf's inability to be quiet makes the crows flap around as you move from one bush to another. You give up trying to be stealthy, stand up straight, and see two human bodies in the flattened grass.
Hayda. Direktman ceset. Henüz zırhım yoktu ki ya.
You don't see any signs of a struggle in the area where the corpses are lying. Were they stabbed by a companion? A stranger could hardly have crept up on them with such sparse cover.
Burada bir ceset var.
A man lies in front of you, dressed in an expensive robe. It is in the colors of Turgur the Fair-Faced, one of the 6 magi. The dead man must be one of Turgur's famuli. You don't see any wounds.
Hayda. Başka büyücü klanından talebeler.
He's wearing dark brown leather armor that is strengthened with iron plates. There's a sword lying next to him. Was he trying to defend himself against something or someone? There is no blood on the sword.
Hayda. Cesedi çevir.
There are some narrow stab wounds in the man's chest. The cuts are too big to have been made by arrows, but too small for sword wounds.
Diğer cesede de bakalım.
The man has the same incisions. It's clear that both men were killed by the same weapon. But what that weapon might be, you cannot say.
Ne bir bıçak kadar küçük, ne bir kılıç kadar geniş. Vay. Şurada çalıyı bir inceleyelim. Evet, boşmuş. Bilgilendiğimiz çok iyi oldu. Burada bir çanta var.
A rucksack that probably belonged to one of the dead. It seems to have been searched and then thrown away carelessly.
Çantayı araştır.
You find a few implements, some provisions, and a map. A route is drawn on it from Parista, Nudin's capital, to Lotyonen's vaults.
Hayda. Bölgeyi bir kez daha tarıyor ve kendine bir sonraki hamleni soruyorsun. Al ve daha fazla ipucu ara. Ölüleri görme yolculuğuna devam et. Ölüleri gömelim ya. Ölülere gömelim kardeşim. Hak etmedikleri hainlikte öldürülmüşler. Biz hak ettikleri şekilde yollayalım onları.
But it should at least keep the crows from their feasting for a while. You continue on your way so as to put a few more miles between you and your grisly find before night falls.
Evet, devam edelim. Evet, ilk soru işaretimize geldik. Yan görevi is coming. Kaldırı güldürü gidelim ya.
Towards the fire with confident strides until you finally make out three broad-shouldered men with axes. Two rabbits are sizzling over the fire. The men...
Adam 3 tane baltalı adam var. Adamları bir dinlesek mi ya? Adamları ufak bir dinleyelim. Bakalım nasıl tipler.
Sneak up on the men until a thick branch breaks loudly under your boot. You realize, terrified. The men jump up and grab their axes. You step into the light of the fire, your hands raised in a conciliatory gesture.
My name is Tungdil. I'm only...
Well, I'll be. Is that a groundling?
The men look you over suspiciously.
What's a groundling doing creeping around here? Are you after our gold?
I bet you was hoping to slit our throats once we fell asleep, subterranean scum.
Yeraltı piçi misin? Size sessizce yaklaşmamalıydım. Siz de sözlerinizi daha dikkatli seçmelisiniz. Hırsız değilim. Katil olmadığım da kesin. Sadece neden burada ateş yakılmış görmek istedim. Silahlarınızı indirin yoksa sizi kendi silahım... Bence şey dedim, size sessizce yaklaşmamalıydım.
Shouldn't have crept up on you. I'm sorry, but that is really no reason to be so unfriendly.
Oh, I didn't intend to insult your lordship in any way.
You find it difficult to take control of your voice again.
Have you met many dwarves?
Shut it, you filthy thief.
Now consider this. I am a dwarf with an axe, and I don't use my axe for cutting down trees.
The men are visibly unsettled and lower their axes a little.
I thought so.
You turn your back on the men and walk back to the path confidently. You don't hear any steps behind you, and only once you've put distance between you do you dare look back over your shoulder. None of the men have followed you. You sigh with relief. It could have ended up a very painful experience if you...
Evet. Görüyorsunuz endamımız iti kopu çakalı korkutuyor arkadaşlar. Biz de böyle bir delikanlıyız. Biz de böyle bir erkek evladıyız. Endamımız iti kopu çakalı korkutur. Neyse şimdi buraya doğru gitmemiz lazım. Nereden gidelim? Böyle böyle böyle böyle böyle. Aynı şeyden geliyor. Şuraya uğrasak mı ya? Ha bu ne lan? Cüce tüccar. Çiftlikten geçelim.
You hear the loud cries of children at play. A girl runs along the path laughing, followed by a small boy with a big stick in his hand. The boy is trying to catch up his sister with a determined look on his face, but is finding it difficult to keep his short legs under control on the uneven path.
Güzel, sade bir çiftlik. Çocuklara doğru gidelim, bir merhaba diyelim. Selam gençler.
You walk towards the children. As you raise your hand to greet them, the boy catches sight of you. His eyes grow wide, and now the girl has turned to face you too. Before you can say a word, she lifts her little brother up into her arms and...
Sıçtık.
Without rushing, you follow the children to the farmhouse into which they've disappeared. After a few moments, they reappear.
Irkçılar ama. Herkes ırkçı ya.
Their father is a
Bu çiftliklerin arkadaşları.
grey hair.
I am Opacha. This is my wife, Remsa.
The blonde woman nods a greeting almost imperceptibly and clasps her daughter tightly to her. She looks you over.
It's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Tungdal.
You try to make your voice sound as harmless. You bid farewell and set off.
Aa, yanlışlıkla tıkladım direkt vedaya.
Follow you for a while before saying their goodbyes in love.
Neyse, çok da önemli değil. Güzel, suya gidelim bakalım. Abi cüceler ırkçılık yapıyorlar. Neyse. Sinirlenmiyoruz. Biz maceramıza bakalım abi. Macera. Kapıya doğru gidelim.
The smith who made them knew what he was doing. You conclude that the men depend on the protection the armor offers and aren't just wearing them to look good. They're certainly not villagers.
Bence de. Merhabalar Akü. Bir girelim, gidelim. Ateş var.
There are small fires burning every 50 steps or so. They are intended to light up the area in front of the palisade in the night, so that orcs can't creep up to within an arrow.
Orklar daha erken gözüksün diye.
Orc skulls.
You're not sure it's wise to taunt the beasts with the severed heads of their fellow kind. The double gate is made of strong planks, sturdy but still much less solid than the fixed parts of the palisade. Security has been forgone here.
Neyse.
Some of the guards begin to whisper as you near the gate.
Hello up there. What brings you to fair good water? And have you seen any orcs on your travels, groundling?
The man leaning over the palisade eyes you up and down carefully.
Goodwater is well known for its hospitality.
A fact that you've just made up yourself.
Let me in, and I will tell other travelers all about it.
I regret to inform you that we cannot allow you to enter. The gates stay closed once night has fallen.
There is certainly no regret showing in the man's face.
Vay terbiyesiz şerefsizler. Zadamus, hoş geldin kardeşim bu arada. Üzülerek söylüyorum ki giremezsin. Ama suratlarında üzüntüye andıran hiçbir ifade yok. Kapılarınız pek de sağlam değil. El atabilirim. Bu şeyler hakkında birkaç şey bilirim. Rüşvet. Tetikte kalın. Dekorasyonunuz da pek ilginç.
Those won't scare orcs away.
I hope not. The more orc heads that end up on those spears, the more gold coins that end up in our pockets. Right, boys? Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Muhafızlar canını
and know how to motivate them. Those ugly mugs will spur them on, and then they'll perish in front of our gates.
Two things become clear to you. Firstly, that the mercenaries the villagers have hired are excellent at killing orcs, and secondly, that they sadly have no brains at all.
When did you kill these orcs?
Yesterday. We caught a couple of their scouts first. The others tried to take revenge in the evening. Let's see who'll turn up today.
Rahatsız herifler ya. Neyse.
I'm a blacksmith and a dwarf. Let me tell you, your gate might look solid, but it won't withstand a real orc assault.
The murmuring all around him makes the man pause for a moment. If anyone else had criticized the stronghold, they'd have been laughed down and shooed away. But no one understands defense systems like the dwarves.
A dwarf blacksmith who just happens to be standing in front of our gate?
Evet, biraz sallayalım ya.
You only know about the secondling stronghold from books, but you can see in the man's face you've pushed the right buttons.
All right then. You can spend the night in the village.
Of course. It's a trifle.
Tabii kardeşim, kapıyı var ya bir geliştireceğim şimdi kardeşim. Fil açamayacak.
After a meal, you spend the night in the comfort and shelter of a good water tavern. The next morning, you feel fully refreshed. You strengthen the gate with cross braces of wood and iron, using your experience and skill. Now it should be able to withstand an attack for much longer. Mercenaries and villagers alike watch you work, clearly impressed. As you finish, a man approaches you.
Well done, dwarf. We were right to bring you into our village.
The village grew rich through bridge tolls, and this wealth must be defended.
Maceralarım sizi memnun ettiyse karşılığında ödeme almaya hayır demem.
I've spent almost half an orbit strengthening the gate.
The council member's face darkens.
We've paid for food and lodgings, and because we're generous, we've also thrown in the bridge toll. Good day, Mr. Dwarf.
Cimri adamlar işte. Neyse, sağlık olsun. Biz yolumuza devam edelim. Koparamadık bir şey ama.
Has been your constant companion since you left Bridgewater. Every little sound in the forest makes you fear you've been discovered by a horde of orcs. But you reach the end of the day without bumping into any of the greenskins. It seems as though Vrakas has granted you one more day in Girdlegard. As night begins to fall, you pass a large oak tree and decide to call it a day. Near the oak tree is an abandoned camp with a fireplace, which appears to be a couple of days old.
Gece çökme. Eski kamp ateşinin yanında kamp kur ve uyu. Eski kamp ateşinin yanında kamp kur ve uyanık kalmaya çalış. Yaşlı meçe ağacının tepesinde gizli bir kamp kur. Ağacın tepesinde gizli bir kamp kuralım.
Pull up your baggage after you. You're prepared to sleep in a tree like a bird if it means escaping the orcs' attentions. You sling your rope twice around your stomach and the trunk of the tree to stop you from falling accidentally. You close your eyes.
Ağaçta uyuyorum şu an resmen.
You see North Pass and smell the fresh, icy wind that sweeps over the peaks of Great Blade and Dragon's Tongue. But the harmony is interrupted by the hideous roar of an unending flood of orcs throwing itself unceasingly against the fortification. You smell the disgusting green blood of the orcs and taste the rancid fat of their armor on your tongue. The bitter taste becomes stronger until it's unbearable and wrenches you out of your dream.
Rüyaya bak be.
Open your eyes and are surprised at the brightness as a glance at the sky confirms that it's still night. Your eyes move towards the ground and what you see
Gözlerin yere doğru kayıyor ve gördüğün şey kanını donduruyor. Ağacın üstünde uyuyorduk biz en son. Hayda. Aşağıda biri var herhalde. Oha. Ananı avradını. Oy, biri yok. Ordu var amına koyayım aşağıda.
I am Sinthras of Son Balsur. My master, Nod On the Doublefold, ruler of the perished land, has elected you, the lords of Taboribor, to be the sword that conquers the south.
You mean you want us to put our necks on the line and be killed by some magus?
Lord Jonan and the others will be taken care of. Your task is to create a diversion in the south until my master's plan succeeds.
And which of us is the leader?
The one that conquers the most land.
So Kragma will be the new Grand Lord.
He glares at Ushnots and Bashkug.
Kragma short tribe will conquer the most.
Ork kabileleri sidik yarıştırıyor.
We will overwhelm the cities of the Red Bloods quicker than you can suck the marrow from a bone.
We shall see.
You can't believe what you're hearing. If the beasts of Tion ride into battle together, catastrophic cycles lie ahead for Girdlegard.
yapacağız? Ağaçta bekleyeceğiz. İki dakika bu uyuyalım dedik. Aşağıya ülke kurmuşlar harbiden.
Was the worst of your life. You spent every single moment afraid that you'd be found and savaged by the orcs. But as the first rays of sun broke through the treetops, the orcs abandoned their camp and left without discovering you.
Ağaçtan inelim bunlar gittiyse.
You're overcome by the urge to vomit. You have of course heard the stories, but seeing with your own eyes that orcs...
This is the place. I knew it was here. Come on then, find that stupid
Pislikler geldi lan.
scar in front of you. A grounding, perfect for a spotted breakfast.
Baltanı çek, orklarla yüzleş.
know that you're no warrior, but you want to face the orcs as a child of the divine smith. Perhaps you'll manage to kill at least one of them, so as not to appear so undwarven in Varacus's eyes.
I'll give you something to chew on. Vracus made us of stone.
Hayda.
Oink, oink, little piggies!
Hayda. Reis'e bak be.
By Barrowin's beard, how did you manage to lose your weapon? Go and get it, and this time, hold it tight. Hey, that one was mine.
You're just too slow, dear brother.
Too slow? Just wait.
Oink oink little piggies. İşte bu.
Understood. Yes? At what?
What is it? On my way.
Boendal reis be.
It can't end like this.
Kendi adamıma vurdum. Yok artık. Gittim demircinin kafaya vurdum onu. Demek ki kendi karakterine vurunca
On my way. For
What
breakfast.
now? Huzzah! Yes? All right. With pleasure. I didn't hit you very hard. Too easy. Say goodbye forever.
End it. On my way.
I didn't hit you very hard.
Boendil, Boendal.
Too easy.
Oğlum şey sıçtı lan.
Oh, what bad luck for you.
Yes?
Beni koruyun, beni koruyun.
Attack! Huh? What is it?
For breakfast. They hit me pretty hard.
Say goodbye forever. What is it? Huzzah! What is it?
He hardly put up a fight.
Oh, what bad luck for you.
I'm waiting up.
Huh? Who's
Let's
next?
go, son. And again.
Yeah! What is it? Ha ha! I didn't hit you very hard.
Sen
Huh?
sen şuraya koş. Go.
What is it?
Killed.
On my way.
Understood.
And what now? Ow! Another one bites the dust.
Şurada biri var lan.
For breakfast.
Yeah!
And again.
Ha ha! Yes? All right.
On my way.
Yeah! What is it?
As good as done. Understood.
Vur aslanım.
And what now?
He hardly
Yes?
put up a fight. End it. Vile creature.
Evet.
Oink oink. That's all? No more orcs?
Well fought, young friend. Do you happen to be tongued ill?
Well fought? But he fought like a...
Boindale, what do you expect? He grew up amongst the humans.
Who are you and how do you know my name?
My name is Boindale Hookhand of the clan of the Swinging Axes. This is my brother Boindale Doubleblade. We've been sent to find you.
Call me Ironheart. Are there any more piggy snouts around here?
You turned up at just the right moment. But are you sure it's me you're looking for?
The High King Gundrabur sent us to fetch you and bring you to Ogre's death in the Secondling realm in the south.
So he received the letter from my master. And am I a secondling?
Well,
İkincil.
something like that, I guess.
There was a meeting last night. The Elfar serve a certain Nod On who calls himself Lord of the Perish Land. They have enlisted 3 orc hordes to cause unrest in the south.
Did you hear that, Boindale? Piggy snouts!
The Elfar from San Balzur and the Orcs from Taboribor are working together?
And could ally with the orcs from the Perish Land.
The twins look at you solemnly. You all know what that would mean for the people of Girdlegard.
Aga be.
We've got to...
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say. But it's our duty to get you to the Ogre's Death Fortress in one piece.
I thought the duty of dwarves was to protect the innocent in Girdlegard.
Lot Yonan and King Broron will take care of the orcs. We 3 must be careful. You're not exactly a warrior.
But he has broad shoulders and broad hands. There's hope for him yet. So when you've got the chance to split a few orc skulls, you should take it.
I would be happy to follow you into the realm of the secondlings. In truth, there is nothing I would rather do. But first, I must travel to Blacksaddle and return some things to a former famulus of Lot Yonan.
Blacksaddle isn't exactly on our way.
It's on my way. We can head south as soon as I've carried out Lot Yonan's orders.
Well,
Giderken uğrarız.
stubbornness of a dwarf. Perhaps we'll be able to make a real dwarf of him on the way.
All right, we'll accompany you. The sooner we find that famulus, the quicker we can get back to the mountains.
I'll have to send Lot Yonan a message by carrier pigeon on the way. And if we happen to stumble upon a couple of orcs...
I like you, but we'll have to find you another name. Bolafar. It's about as good as Lipsmith, Paddletosh, or Blufflegrump. It is stupid, senseless, and definitely not a name of honor.
Lambur lumur yürüyoruz amına.
I'm good at reading.
Reading? You're a scholar?
Scholar. Boyendal'la Boyendal 4 level, biz 2 olduk sonunda, iyi. Oo. Süpürme. Donuk değil, bir düşmanı yere serer. Yarma. Aynı anda birkaç düşman hasar veren ve onları yere deviren enlemesine bir darbe. Şu daha iyi ya. İlke bunu verelim. 18 kumanya, küçük iyileştirme iksiri, iyi para bulmuşuz ya. Koruma tılsımı. O tılsımı giyebiliriz. Giyiliyordur herhalde. Evet, ilk action'ımızda yaşamış olduk. 9 ne ya? Neyse. Şuraya doğru, Karasemer'e doğru yavaştan yol alalım. Ha, ork sürüsü. Ha. Etrafta ork sürüleri var. Şu handan geçelim.
You arrive at a crossroads with a tavern on the corner. A warm light is emanating from its window, lighting up the road around it. A stone sculpture of a sheep stands in front of the door, and above it a sign, swaying gently in the breeze, reads, "The Stone Sheep."
Kana bir girelim.
With a determined stride, and are greeted by a thick wall of pipe smoke. The dozen or so drinkers at the tables turn towards you, then give each other astonished and
Tabi lan, hayatınızda kaç tane cüce gördünüz? Biz boş bir masaya oturalım. 2 bira devirip yolumuza devam edelim.
empty table with the twins in tow and sit down. The landlord comes out from behind the bar.
What can I get you?
You hear surly muttering from one of the tables.
What are groundlings doing showing their...
Buradan 2 yolcu geçtim, birisi tabela, birisi paralı asker olması lazım. Aa, bu benim bulduğum ölü cesetler büyük ihtimal.
Did two travelers pass this way? One was a famulus, the other a mercenary.
The landlord shakes his head indifferently and mumbles something incoherently. One of the guests is about to say something, but shuts up when the...
Aa, söylemediler.
You turn to the guest who is silenced.
Were you gonna say something, my friend?
I'm not your friend, and I wasn't going to say anything either.
The man glances at his neighbor and then turns his attention back to his beer.
Yanmasın, şu an burada olmasının nesi tuhaf. Neler bir bakalım. Tüccarın öğeleri, senin öğelerin. Yüze satıyor lan, yuh. Kumanyamız var ya, kumanyayı şu an almaya gerek yok herhalde. Kaç para ki? Ha, tanesi 2 lira zaten. Şöyle bir alalım bari de yanımızda bulunsun. Neyse, yanmasındaki hıyara bir soralım.
You turn to the guest who'd muttered something about... The man glances up briefly and then stares drunkenly at his tankard and mutters with a slur.
Don't play the innocent. The orcs are terrorizing our lands. And whose fault is it? You let them in.
I was not at the stone gateway, and I don't know what happened. But you can be sure of one thing. Dwarves would never cooperate with orcs. We killed them no sooner...
Boindil sinirlendi.
My name isn't Boindil
Reis.
The drunkard and his neighbor are given a start. They mumble an apology and...
I wouldn't mind.
The landlord nods and takes the twins' order too. Shortly after he returns...
We're tired and...
Of course, gentlemen.
You spend a restful night in the tavern and then head off on your way again.
Hıyarlara bak ya. Neyse. Yürü kuleye doğru gidelim.
Orcs lying in the defensive trenches and strewn over the meadows in front of the city. Some of the locals are busy throwing the bodies on pyres, while others repair the minor damage done to the...
18 tane ork sürüsü var, yuh. Bakalım Sivri Kule'ye.
And the garrison at its center without being spoken to. It is only when you reach a heavy oak door that leads, you assume, to the commanding officer's headquarters, that you are halted by a guard.
Dwarves, eh? Seems we aren't to be spared anything these days. What do you want?
Siz eksiktiniz derken?
It looks like you've got an orc problem.
Had. Our scouts detected the army early on, and we were able to repel them without any great losses. A small army of orcs like that couldn't breach our mighty...
Kudretli surlar.
Your mighty walls look like they're about to collapse under their own weight.
The soldier isn't intimidated by Boindil. He juts his chin out confidently.
At least they stopped the orcs, unlike your dwarven walls in the north.
I didn't know that Steepleton was so big.
We have fertile meadows. That's what we have to thank for the city's growth in recent years. At the time of my grandparents, Steepleton was nothing more than the tower on a hill with a couple of houses. Now,
Aferin size.
it's a temple, and of course, there are royal messengers stationed in the tower, which doesn't do the city's coffers any.
Neyse.
You said you had messengers here. I'd like to send a carrier pigeon to Lot Yonen in your...
Lot Yonen in Yonenda.
90 altın mı?
Cost you 90 gold pieces.
Çok pahalı lan.
Well, if that's how it is, then I'd rather do without the carrier pigeon.
The guard nods sympathetically.
The service is expensive, but carrier pigeons
90 altın ne amına? Yollayalım ya.
Lot.
If the carrier pigeon delivers...
Then I'll send for a scribe. You can dictate your message and...
thank you, but I can write it myself. Paper and ink will be sufficient.
The guard nods. You don't blame him for thinking you are illiterate. Very few ordinary folk can read or write. Once you've been given the writing implements, you write down a summary of what happened at the meeting of the Alf and the Orcs.
I must speak with your commander.
Commander Valor doesn't have time. He's still very busy dealing with the aftermath of the orc attack.
Commander Valor is dealing with the orc problem, and I have important information concerning it.
The guard eyes you with interest and tries to judge whether you can be trusted. Finally, he stands up, opens a door, and enters the room.
Yani kardeşim biz öyle boş adam değiliz.
Looks up from his work. The guard repeats what you told him.
Your information about the orcs could be useful. We have fought them back, but not yet defeated them. Come in.
The commander listens attentively, and now and then asks questions, as you tell him about the 3 orc armies and the meeting of the chieftains with the Alf Sintheras.
This sounds very grave.
Aynen baş başayız.
We must be prepared.
The orc army that attacked you was able...
What was left of it? They headed south. Unfortunately, I can't send anyone after them until the damage to the wall is repaired.
The commander looks at you with a disgruntled expression. It suddenly seems clear to him who he has standing in front of him.
If you're interested, you could try and wipe out the mob that got away and collect the bounty.
Killing pig noses and getting paid for it? Where's the hedge?
You grin at Boindil, and then turn back to the commander.
We must press on. Farewell, Commander Valor.
Kill as many orcs as you can, dwarves. Palandi will be with you.
You see a camp with a wagon and 2 people on the edge of the path. Behind them, Black Saddle towers up above a thick, dark forest, about a half a day's journey away.
Yolun köşesinde bir vagon. 2 insan kamp kurmuş. Bir gidelim. Geceye geçirmek için kamp kuralım. Neler satıyorsun göster bakalım. Boris Tan'dan mı geliyorsunuz? Karasemer'den çekilmenizin sebebi ne?
Why does Black Saddle make you feel uneasy? It doesn't look particular.
Only a mountain? You don't know the legend.
The trader looks at you and the twins for affirmation, but you all...
Black Saddle was once known as Cloudpiercer, and it towered up into the heavens, the upper slopes of pure gold and the summit covered in snow. The humans wanted to attain this wealth, but they called on the dwarves to help them. They were able to tunnel up through Cloudpiercer to the top. They hollowed it out and carried away the gold. The humans demanded that the treasure be shared, but the dwarves refused, and as they argued, the mountain began to tremble. There were too many holes inside for it to hold together. It collapsed and buried both greedy parties underneath it. The mountain lost its tremendous size and its beauty, and ever since has haunted both humans and dwarves with its erosive hatred, causing even the rocks to turn black over time.
Never heard of it. Sounds like human tittle-tattle. Dwarves would never hollow out a mountain so much that it collapses.
Gerek yok bunlara. Bir kamp kuralım.
Later in the night, after eating together and some friendly conversation by the campfire, it's a night in which nothing happens, and the next morning the traders set off early. After breakfast.
Evet, bir sıkıntı olmadı. Şimdi Karasemer'e doğru gidelim.
After a march through the thick pine forest, Black Saddle, the sinister tabletop mountain, and your journey's destination rises up before you.
Evet.
Are you sure that the fabulous lives here?
Yes, according to Lot.
Although you try to put a lot of assurance into your voice, you...
No castle, no tunnel, no camp. There's nothing here but mountain.
Then we'll have to take a closer look.
You do that, scholar. We'll be waiting for you here.
You think about objecting, but it would just be a waste of breath.
Peki.
An old tree. Looks like it could fall down. There we go. Too steep. I can't get a grip anywhere.
O zaman buraya.
Should be able to get up here. That was close.
Evet, aradan ucuz atlattık. İnşallah ölmeyiz sonra. Allah'tan cüceyiz kardeşim.
Definitely a rock face.
Buralarda ne var?
Something engraved on it.
You realize with surprise that they are runes in the dwarven language.
Cüce dili. Ürünleri okumadın mı?
Built with the blood of our enemies, be unyielding as...
Sihirli kelime lan. Hayda. Şifreymiş o. Yani sadece cücece bilen girebiliyor. Anladım abi. Mantıklı. Aman aman, nereye geldik? Oh.
Lot Yonan sent me to bring some items back to you.
Demek ki master burada değil.
My inquiries are almost at an end. That means I can finally go to be with my sunshine. I have never been to Greenglade, but I think I will like it there. I deposited my most valuable things in the grave of Horengarth before my departure and secured it with magic. The password is...
You recognize the following words as rune names, but they're written in the learned language, so you don't know which they are.
Greenglade. Oh, great.
Mükemmel. Işığı ver.
Useful.
Ne oluyor lan?
Hello.
Kardeşim elo melo siktir et, baltanı çek.
Born of stone, forged in battle, arise reborn from the blood of the enemy.
You're not sure if you really want to know what was once in this basin. The whole place gives you the feeling that a decent dwarf shouldn't hang around too long. A series of weapons that are all clearly of dwarven origin. The spider webs and rust suggest they have been here for.
Güzel baltalar varmış orada bu arada.
You have difficulty deciphering the scroll.
Throw the firstlings in the forge. Beat the secondlings to a pulp. The fourthlings are. The rest is illegible.
Oyda.
A rune. Clearly magical.
Eyvah. Bu ışıkla mı yakıyoruz? Aa, söndü diğer ikisi. Demek ki ilk önce bunu yakacağız. Sonra bunu yakacağız. Sonra sağdakini yakacağız. Sonra da bunu yakacağız. Yok. Tam tersi. Bu. Aa, hepsi söndü. Yok. O zaman şöyle. İlk bunu yakacağız. Sonra bunu yakacağız. Sonra gidip bunu yakacağız. Şifre koymuş arkadaş. Sonra da bu. Oo, kendi kendine açıldı. Boyumuz da yetişmiyor ki.
Garen's most valuable belongings. Letters from his lover, a silk scarf that must have belonged to her, and a medallion.
Madalyonu aldık. Kumanya.
It looks as though Garen lived in the fortress for a while. It also seems that he left several lunar orbits ago.
He's not stealing. It would just be a shame if the provisions went off.
Madalyonu aldık. Ne yapsak? Çıksak gitsek artık. Adam yok. Aa. Ayda. Ne oluyor lan?
Thirdly, the fortress belongs to the dwarf haters. Lorenber's dwarves are not only as unyielding as a mountain, they are also as destructive as an avalanche, and would batter into lesser kingdoms just as relentlessly. The four should find no salvation in Vracus, only eternal damnation, so that they suffer indescribable torment between the worlds.
You have heard of the dwarf haters, but this is the first time you have read their hateful words. You feel sick and turn away.
Cüce düşmanı şerefsizler. Adi pislikler.
Graves. Could be better.
Buradan hemen derhal burayı terk ediyoruz kardeşim. Ya da aşağı tırmandık.
So, Scholar, what are the results of your...
Peki hocam.
There is an abandoned fortress in the mountain, and I think it belongs.
Boindale's eyes narrow.
The blasted dwarf killers!
A thirdling fortress? Here? In the middle of Girdlegard? We must let High King Gundrabur know about this.
The fortress has been long abandoned by the looks of it. Anyway, I can't go to Ogre's death until I have completed my quest. Goren is in Greenglade. The High King? Why do you want to bring me?
All right then. It's about the choice of the new High King. Gandagar, the king of the Fourthlings, is with his entourage in Ogre's death.
But our acting High King Gundrabur wants to prevent that from happening. He fears that Gandagar wishes to instigate a war against the elves.
But what have I got to do with that?
Boindale is about to say something, but is silenced by a nudge in the side from his brother.
High King Gundrabur will explain everything when the time comes.
You look
Hayda biz varis falanız büyük ihtimalle.
Boindale has donned an innocent expression, and Boindale doesn't give you the impression that he has anything else to say on the matter.
Whatever, your High King must wait. I have a quest to...
But our quest is...
Boindale raises a placatory hand and throws his rucksack onto his back in preparation.
Let it be, dear brother. Look at him. He has made his decision, and you will not be able to change his stubborn dwarven mind.
Boindale reis.
Smile.
Boindale reis bizim arkamızda, evet. Evet. İlk bölümümüzü de burada bitirelim. İzlediğiniz için teşekkür ederim. Bu tarz içerikleri, bu tarz oyunları, videoları seviyorsanız aşağıdaki açıklamalar kısmında Twitch linkimi de bulabilirsiniz. Oradan da takip edebilirsiniz beni. İzlediğiniz için tekrar teşekkür ederim. Hoşça kalın. Kendinize iyi bakın.